First night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through.
What's going on, guys? Dorco back again. I hope you're fantastic today. And there is now a brand new teaser, folks, on scottgames.com, and it's insane! It's freaking insane, guys!
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier, and welcome to
Five Nights at Freddy's 4 demo? Are we doing this right now?
They just came out again, like, out of nowhere. It's supposed to come out on October 31st. Then he turned around a couple of weeks ago and said, no, it's coming out August 8th.
Plushie on the bed behind you.
Hang on. We're banging on the door. Are we scared?
So I'm playing as the crying boy, which isn't the crying boy, but the crying boy. Isn't the crying boy the puppet?
This means is the time getting close? Am I running out of flashlight? Like, what? Oh, gosh! What the fuck was that? Oh my god!
Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is a good horror game. Hey, wait, let me explain myself. Yeah, I said it. I said the game with the spooky jump scares is actually a very scary game. What are you gonna do about it? Fight me? Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is a good horror game. In my opinion, it's the best Five Nights at Freddy's game. Yeah, it's better than Security Breach and UCN. Cry about it, bitch. On this day today, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 turns 7 years old. Man, I'm old. Anyways, I think it's time we took some appreciation for this game and how scary it is. Even with some of the flaws it has, it's still a pretty spooky game, let's be honest. But first, let's talk about the elephant that is in the room. This game has a shitload of jump scares.
Jesus Christ! What?
Yeah, I also don't like jump scares. They're annoying, repetitive, and ruin the experience overall. But in this game, they're actually pretty good. Now, I don't blame you for hating jump scares. I also don't like them, and I'm sure Mark also doesn't. But jump scares have become pretty synonymous when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's. So much so that whenever you do think about Five Nights at Freddy's, you probably think of all the fucking jump scares it has. Other than sound design, level design, or even ambience, jump scares are what make FNAF so scary. Thing is, most jump scares aren't that good. Well, except for the game I'm going to be talking about today. Remember those factors I was talking about? Well, they're actually pretty essential for creating the horror in Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of YouTubers that have discussed the horror in Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm sure they've done better than what I'm about to do now. But I'm just gonna summarize everything just to set some background to this video. Let's use those factors I was yapping about before. Let's add some vignette to make everything more spookier, and change the music into something more scary. Yeah, that's more like it. Now, looking at these factors, each of these factors actually work hand in hand with each other to deliver such good horror in Five Nights at Freddy's. Sound design and ambience work with each other, level design and ambience work with each other, and jump scares work with all three of them. Let's go through each one of them, with using the first FNAF game as a base example, since every other game is inspired off of it. Let's start with sound design first. Sounds are used throughout the entirety of Five Nights at Freddy's to enhance the atmosphere. Sounds like Foxy's Lullaby and Chica in the Kitchen are good examples of this. They don't contribute that much, but they're still pretty useful in creating a spooky atmosphere. Now let's move on to our second factor, level design. Now, level design includes a myriad of things like how dark it is or the scene building and other technical crap that I won't get into. But one that is prevalent in FNAF 1 at least is how claustrophobic everything is. FNAF 1 has you enclosed in a small square office, small enough to trigger that part of your brain that enables claustrophobia or something. Look, I'm not a scientist. Now we get to our final factor of ambience, probably one of the most important factors of them all. Ambience is basically every other factor that I yapped about before, all merging into one great factor. Sound design, level design, and jump scares all combining into one to deliver a spooky experience. All of these factors combined give the classic Five Nights at Freddy's experience, the uneasy and fearful tension of the game, or at least most. Now imagine all of these factors times by 10. Sounds pretty scary, right? Well, that's Five Nights at Freddy's 4 for you. Out of every single Five Nights at Freddy's game, FNAF 4 is the scariest by far. This is because of its utilization of its ambience and jump scares, as well as introducing even more factors to increase the horror and stressfulness.
What the fuck? Oh!
Firstly, we can look at the jump scares. The jump scares in this game are multiplied by like a gajillion. They're exactly the same in the other games, but what's different in this game is the build up and the delivery. Now look at this. You run to the door just to see if there's any enemies there. Everything is silent, not a single sound to be heard. Here's the problem. You can't just shine your flashlight willy-nilly. You have to actually listen for their breathing to make sure that they're actually there. To hear for them, you have to increase your volume to properly hear for breathing. If you don't, you'll suffer the consequences. Now that your volume is up high, we can continue and listen for breathing. Can you hear anything? Cause I fucking can't. Just remember, don't make a mistake. Your volume is up high, so the jump scare is gonna be even louder and scarier than normal. One tiny mistake and your eardrums are gone. Don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up! Ah, see, we're fine. God damn it! Jump scares in this game are 100 times better than they are in the other games. Why? Well, it's because of their build up and delivery. This game requires you to increase your volume, get close to your screen, and concentrate as you attempt to listen for breathing. And because all of your attention is focused on the game, the jump scare will be 1,000 times worse. This reminds me of those screamer videos from back in the day where you'd focus on the chair and then boom, a jump scare. It's kinda like that. These super startling jump scares also add tension throughout the entire game. Whenever you're looking down the hallway listening for breathing, you'll have this constant fear of a jump scare that'll startle you. No one actually wants to get jump scared, so you'll be in this constant state of fear that'll stick with you the entire game. You know that jump scares are a possibility, but you don't know exactly when or from where they'll occur. Jump scares are unexpected, and we already explained how they're even scarier than normal. The fear of encountering a jump scare keeps you on edge and therefore increases the intensity. In a way, this kinda justifies the use of jump scares, because the jump scares in this game are used to the game's advantage, and without jump scares, this game would suck. You could make the same case for the rest of the FNAF games, but Five Nights at Freddy's 4 uses jump scares better than the rest of them. The next section we'll talk about is level design. Now, typically the FNAF games have you set in an office. Your main focus in that office is to control any passageway. Before, we discussed how Five Nights at Freddy's has that factor of claustrophobia in it. You're stuck in a small, cramped room with barely any space to look around in. You're stuck right in the middle and can't move around. The good thing is that you have cameras to monitor every animatronic, so you'll know where everyone is. Take all of what I just said and throw it out the fucking window, mate. Remember those cameras I was telling you about? Get rid of that shit. Or when you're complaining about how everything felt too small and claustrophobic, well, guess what, mate? You can move around now. Isn't that awesome? No, it fucking isn't. In fact, it makes the game even more scarier. And I'm gonna tell you why now. First, let's look at the new office. Well, it's not really an office anymore, you're in a child's bedroom. And for a child's bedroom, it's pretty big. Like, no child deserves a bedroom this big. We already discussed how small, cramped offices serve well in the former 3 games, but now in the 4th game, you can actually move around this time. This sounds good on paper, but actually makes the game more stressful. In the first 2 games, you had to control 1, 2, or even 3 spaces, that being any doorways or vents. To make things better, you didn't have to travel any distances to control it, with them being controlled with a simple mouse flick. Everything was quick and accessible with ease. Now remove everything that I just said from the 4th game. In the 4th game, the room is much bigger and you have an extra space that you need to control. Now you have to control the left and right doors, the closet, and then the space behind you. That's an extra space that you have to control. To make it worse, you're being attacked from all directions, so there isn't really a position of peace like there was in the first 3 games. To make things even more worse, you actually have to run to the position that you want to control. You can't just flick your mouse and control your space with ease anymore. No, you have to actually run to the area and focus on that one area while leaving the other 3 areas undefended. At least in the first 3 games you could manage all spaces simultaneously. In the 4th game you can only focus on one area, which then forces you to leave the other 3 spaces undefended. What's worse is that you can't lock the doors. In the first game you could shut the door without being forced to open it once you leave it alone. In this game you are forced to leave the door open once you leave it alone, so you aren't truly defended at all. And remember, these animatronics are aggressive as fuck, so good luck managing all of them at once. Adding insult to injury, everything is dark. The first 3 games all had lights to illuminate the office. There wasn't a need for a flashlight unless it was for checking the vents or doorways. In this game, the lights are off, which requires you to have a flashlight at all times. The flashlight is your only weapon to defend yourself, so keep it safe at all times or suffer the consequences. This adds even more stress since you have to manage and care for your flashlight, because without it, you will suffer greatly. Another way this game differs from the other games is from the removal of cameras. The first 3 games have cameras to monitor each room and animatronic. The cameras helped at pinpointing the exact position of each animatronic. Pretty useful, right? Awesome. Remove it from the 4th game. In the 4th game, the cameras are removed. Gone. You don't have them anymore. Instead, you have to kinda guess where they are from visual and audio clues. If you see the closet close randomly, you'll know someone is in there. If you hear breathing in the halls, you'll know someone is there. And if you use your light or not, you'll see who's there or not. Without cameras, it makes the game even harder because you can't keep track of every animatronic. We already discussed how you have to run up and down to each control point instead of being able to control it with just a mouse flick. These 2 factors work hand in hand to deliver a stressful experience. Because you can't use cameras anymore, you're gonna have to move up and down, and moving around is stressful as it is.
Oh gosh! What the fuck was that? Oh my gosh!
FNAF 4 is leagues above the other games, and I really don't understand how other people could disagree. It isn't like the other games with cameras and extra safety. Nah mate, not anymore. Everything is way harder. Which I find kind of ironic since Five Nights at Freddy's 4 has you play as a child, while the rest of the games have you play as adult security guards. Everything is easier for the adults but not for the child. Overall, the Five Nights at Freddy games are awesome, and you should play them. If you're watching this video, then I assume you already did play them, and if you played them, then you should agree with me on the fact that Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the scariest out of all of them. If you don't agree with me on that, well, watch the fucking video again, dumbass. I'm right and you're wrong. If you want to debate me, join my Discord server. Follow my other socials in the description if you want to keep up with me. I update myself on my Discord server, so go there if you want to see what's going on. Other than that, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. That's if I'm still alive after this video. Goodbye.
Light thing going on, like they sponsored someone that was like gay or trans or something, and like all the American conservatives threw a hissy. It was like it was comical.